well. And I really appreciated James kind of taking us inside the mind of a pitcher a little bit.
Yeah, he's also hilarious, just low key. That story that he told on
Still
a pitch he's
him.
never thrown was hilarious.
That's yeah, like we said, he's probably not going to make that mistake again. And he probably wakes up in the middle of the night at least once or twice a week, sweating, thinking about that.
Yeah, that was brutal. But no, really good stuff from James. Appreciate him joining. Also, former, not even high school, middle school quarterback.
Yes.
And as Wes comes in, James told us, not sure if you got to hear this, he played a little quarterback. He was 140 pounds, went 0-19. Only spared from going 0-20 because the game got rained out, and said his best receiver on his team became a lineman the next year at high school.
0-19 as a starter?
I presume he was the starter. We didn't lock that down, but it kind of seemed like it.
Yeah, I guess between 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah. For those who missed it on the last hour, I asked James if he'd ever thrown a no-no or how close he had gotten to one. And it was at junior college. He had one, had 2 outs left in the game, and he had been kind of tinkering with a splitter.
I said it was a cutter.
Cutter. Right. He had been tinkering with a cutter and had never thrown it in a game and decided to throw it in the game, and the guy hit it 400 feet.
Did you ask why?
Yeah, he just didn't really know.
He just, on a whim, decided he was going to give it a shot.
I was like, that's what you went with, huh? You decided that was the right time.
And he's never thrown the cutter since.
Yeah, he literally shelved it. It was a one and done.
It kind of feels like that was maybe like a heat check, almost like when a basketball player is like, oh, I'm going to pull from, he's like, I can't be hit today.
I was trying not to be like rub it in.
Yeah.
But
it's a heat check. Like, oh, this guy can't even hit my pitch I've never even thrown before.
Yeah.
And then he blasts it.
That was a bad decision, and he knows it.
Yeah. You got to go with what got you there. He did not in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. So the cutter has been shelved since that time, never to be thrown again. It's one and done, one home run. And now he just goes 80% sinker. It's pretty much what he throws.
Hey, if you have a great sinker, that's probably a good strategy.
It's been very, very effective. Tyler, I know you wanted to talk some hoops to open the show.
Yeah, big game last night. Welcoming in number 2 Alabama, and Colin and I were talking about this yesterday, previewing this game. We were almost kind of going the silver linings route, saying, okay, well, just don't get beat by 50 points, look promising, look like you want to be out there, look like you're motivated. I don't think either one of us expected them to go toe-to-toe with Alabama the entire game, just come up short at the end there in overtime.
Yeah, I actually took in the game. I dabble in a little bit of basketball watching, and I was at the game last night and actually sat right near the Alabama bench, and the entire game was a very interesting experience. Of course, the game itself, but just the environment was good. I mean, there were a lot of students there. It was not a packed house at CLA or anything, but it was a loud crowd at times for sure. Students were engaged, crowd was engaged. Good many Bama fans there, and not just behind the Bama bench. A lot of fans everywhere. I guess they have some when they're ranked number 2. They dabble in basketball as well.
They magically have become basketball fans.
They come out of the woodwork.
Yes. So were you involved in the fight that actually stopped play at one point?
No comment. I was on the other side. Chris Gillespie, our photographer on Gamecock Central, have you seen the photo he took?
No.
I think it was the fight.
Is it on Twitter?
It's I need to tweet it out.
Okay.
It's on our
No, people need to go to Gamecock Central.
Actually, that's right. Yeah, go to GamecockCentral.com.
Yeah, go to the photo gallery up there. Titled, have you seen the title? South Carolina almost in right place at right time. Psh, Tyler, that's where you play the drum cymbal sound.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to turn my pod up. Say that again.
South Carolina almost in right place at right time. Boom.
Almost.
But
I almost have a voice today.
I hear that. I saw a guy get escorted from the game. I think this photo was going around. He literally walked in an orange jumpsuit. Department of Corrections. There was a fight. There were multiple people. Here's one thing I was told very reliably is that people in the crowd, and I think mainly this is like people in floor seats, were told not to make any comments about what we will dub as the situation with Alabama, lest you be thrown out of the game. And I saw a lot of people escorted from seats up higher that were causing a problem. But that was interesting. Brandon Miller was booed every time he got the ball. One of the Alabama players on the bench, and I made sure to see this several times because I didn't want to spread around something that wasn't true, decided, or I would say he probably didn't think about it, to make the like 3-pointer, like the gun symbol every time Brandon Miller hit a 3. Probably not the best choice.
Wait, you know the best way to make people comment on the situation is to tell them not to comment on the situation.
I did see a lot of on like Twitter before the game, the people in like the orange jumpsuits, and I assume they probably weren't going to let them inside because I didn't see any of it like on the broadcast. And like people like had some like crude signs and stuff like that. Like I figured they were probably going to crack down on it so it wouldn't be like as big of a situation once I got inside.
This has become a thing, the situation. Yeah, but I mean, Alabama, I mean, seriously, the way that, and obviously the bigger story is like what happened was obviously terrible, no matter what you think about, you know, Brandon Miller and what fault he is of it.
I found the picture, by the way.
It's pretty phenomenal, isn't it?
That's a good one.
Very good one. We'll make sure, I'm going to send that out with the link, Wes, and the photo, so that the people can see it. And click on the Chris's gallery on Gamecock Central. I'm glad he captured that. But as it turned out, Brandon Miller, just too much for South Carolina. You could tell Lamont Paris was pretty broken up afterwards, about his team not being able to get it done because they played so well for the most part. I mean, made a lot of shots, rose to the occasion a bunch. This is an Alabama team that's been just destroying people in conference play. And, Miller was the difference, really, 41 points.
And a lot of people nationally will look at last night and say, oh, Alabama, they weren't focused. They were distracted given everything that was going on. Miller had a career high 41 points. I don't think you can use that excuse of Alabama was just having an off night. No, South Carolina legitimately went step for step with them the entire game.
Yeah, there was no... I heard some people talking about that before the game or at the game. Alabama may be fractured or something like that. They've leaned into all this. I mean, I literally was 10 feet from their bench. Every time Brandon Miller got the ball and did something good, which was a lot, their bench just erupted. There was none of that. And so, Greg Byrne, the Alabama AD, was at the game. I know sometimes ADs travel to away games, but not all the time. I think he saw fit to go to this one given the circumstances. Nate Oates had some comments, I know, after the game. They didn't want to be asked about anything, but of course, as you guys said, the number one way to make sure that happens is to say, don't ask or talk about this.
Miller as a player.
One of the best I've seen.
Definitely one of the best that's ever played against Carolina in that arena, I think.
Offensively, there's no doubt.
I mean, you look, he had the tying shot at the end of regulation. He, tied it up? No, he put them up twice late in the game. Not just the game winner, because Carolina answered back to his first would have been game winner. Michi gets to the basket, and then he hits the actual game winner. Carolina was in a really tough spot. If you really want to get into the game itself, they had to play two guys that had 4 fouls. And there were a couple of times late where Carolina, I know, wanted to contest, But one of those baskets, you had Michi and Josh Gray. Josh Gray playing on one leg at one point. It looked like he was cramping up, and they were just in a bad spot. I mean, you could tell. I'm sure. I mean, it was noticeable on TV. I'm sure it's probably even more noticeable at the game itself. Carolina just looked gassed because basically they had 6, 7 guys that played most of the game, and it was. I really, really dislike, the whole moral victory thing.
Yeah.
But you do hate it for those kids because they absolutely played their hearts out in this game. And, I'll say this about Lamont Paris. There was some talk about, is this team getting better? Are players getting better? I think absolutely there are signs the team is getting better. And, I mean, look at the progress, I think, of Josh Gray, especially as a defender and a rebounder. Look at the progress of Jacoby Wright, who the last, I don't know where the cutoff is. I think that number is growing. Last 5, 6, 7 games has played this kid was unconscious at one point yesterday and did not seem, the moment did not seem too big for him either. He hit several shots and was able to create. Carolina was able to get open down the stretch of the game. You had Michi, Gigi, and Jacoby Wright, who all scored, I think, about the same in this game. But you just really hated it for the guys because they were up to the challenge with a team that actually probably is a national championship contender. And Alabama, in order to win the game, had to get. I mean, that was a all-time offensive performance.
Yeah, it was incredible. And Brandon Miller could do everything. I mean, he can shoot from outside. He's got, he can get to the basket. I know Lamont Paris pointed out that he's stronger than you think. Those 2 baskets he made, the one in regulation and the one in overtime to win it, driving and a lefty layup, with his offhand.
It made it look easy.
I mean, super easy. I mean, just no problem at all. He's just got kind of everything in his repertoire. And Carolina, they're outmanned, to be honest, from just a talent and depth standpoint against a lot of teams that they play, actually, in the conference. Against Alabama, it's even more noticeable normally. Last night, it was not. It's like you said, Wes. I mean, they were toe-to-toe with them. Jacoby Wright has definitely gone from, it's not just like a cute story. Like, he is legitimately, risen to the occasion and improved. He looks super confident. I mean, the pull-up mid-range game that he showed, Gigi Jackson showed why he was a 5-star. He can get his shot, and he was, Brandon Miller was guarding him a lot of the game. He can get any shot he wants at any time. And so when he's able to be aggressive, get to the basket, shoot the outside shots, when Michi's hitting outside shots, when they're moving the ball.
Half-court shots.
Half-court shots. That last shot.
Yeah, he almost hit 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean, my angle, I was like, that's online. And it just missed. But when this team has a chance, that was kind of you mentioned Brandon Miller's kind of all-time performance. That was a little bit of an unconscious, to steal your word, performance from South Carolina. At times, I think it's shot 43% from 3. You're not going to do that, replicate that every game. But it was a great effort.
I picture Michi Johnson being the guy that stands at half court and shoots 3-pointers before practice. He has to, right? As far as he shoots them from anyway.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to be the guy that's practicing those more than most.
A pull up from half court.
Wait, the one he hit at the buzzer at halftime. I mean, it was kind of a heave, but it wasn't a prayer. It was definitely
a shot.
That was a practice shot.
Yeah.
Because he got right to, I guarantee he has stood right at center court and taken that shot a million times. Because he looked like he was getting to a spot and then drilled it.
Yeah, most of his threes come from the parking lot anyway.
He's that guy. He's that guy at recess that just would cross half court and pull.
And hey, when he's on, South Carolina's usually got a pretty good shot at winning.
Talented player, man. He's really come on. I thought the announcers made a good point too. Michi, I think, is made an effort to try to get to the basket a little bit more. So that's maybe freed him up to get a little bit more room on some of those shots. So maybe he doesn't have to quite shoot it from, 12 feet behind the arc,
right?
Which I think we've seen at times.
All right, going into our first time out here on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. As we do, I have another pair of tickets to give away. This for Sunday's baseball game against Penn. First pitch is going to be at 1:30 out at Founders Park. Be caller number 5 at 803-404-6100 to win yourself a pair of tickets. We'll be right back. 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on The Game.
Thursday on the Garnet Trust Hour between 10 and 11 a.m., redshirt junior right-hander James Hicks from the Gamecocks baseball team will join Chris and Wes. Again, that's the Garnet Trust Hour, Thursday between 10 and 11 a.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
This is Sean Morash with a CBS Sports Minute sponsored by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. Old Trapper, what's your beef? Lamar Jackson was supposedly involved in the Ravens hiring of offensive coordinator Todd Monken. Now Monken says he has had no contact with Lamar Jackson. Why would anybody be convinced this has a happy ending in Baltimore? The man didn't show up to a playoff game in January. Don't expect him to play nice with the tag next month. I'm Sean Morash.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-585-8282. 800-585-8282. That's 800-585-8282.
Run the Cup. Lexington Medical Center's Governor's Cup Road Race will celebrate its 50th anniversary on April 7th and 8th. South Carolina's annual running festival starts Friday, April 7th with an expo and a Main Street Mile, open to all running levels. There's also a free Main Street Mile for kids on Friday. On Saturday, April 8th, choose from a half marathon, 5K run, or 5K walk. Don't miss the fun of the finish area with music, food, and activities before the awards and post-race celebration. For more information or to register, visit governorscupsc.org.
Doco Ribfest is coming to Doco Meadows Park March 10th and 11th in Blythewood. Music, food, fun, and 10,000 pounds of ribs and cook-off competition. Friday evening movie night and music by Too Much Sylvia. Saturday's music is Joseph's Grayson Band, Common Time Bluegrass Band, Blues Deluxe, Wrong Side of the Tracks, and Tokyo Joe. Free admission and parking shuttle service. For tickets and more info, visit DocoRibFest.com. Presented by the town of Blythewood, Chamber of Commerce, Room Heating and Air, and Doco Smoke.
Hey guys, it's Jay Phillips for the Hood team at Coldwell Banker. You know, the Columbia real estate market continues to evolve. In fact, our market is now one of the fastest growing in all of the United States. Danny Hood, Karen Hood, their son, William DiMaggio, have more than 37 years of experience in Columbia real estate, and they're ready to help you, whether it's buying or selling your home. 803-730-2512, thehoodteam.com. Put those years of experience to work for you with the Hood team.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Josh, quote, "After walking around my whole life being a mouth breather, I was excited to try Navage. I read the directions carefully, pressed the button, and oh my gosh, what a sensation. So much mucus, so much crud, but oh sweet, merciful air, I can finally breathe you through my nose. Never have I ever taken such an amazing breath in my life. This is a life changer," unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Managing your online presence takes time, effort, and expertise. It can overwhelm even the savviest business owner. So, meet Cumulus Boost. We're experts at boosting the online presence for businesses of every type. We make sure potential customers can easily find you and really like what they find. Your website, online listings, consumer reviews, and more. Cumulus Boost. Online at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour
With Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
And welcome back into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, and Chris along with you on this Thursday morning. And given Wes's voice situation, we're going to have to call Chris in from the bullpen to tell him about our friends over at Firehouse Subs today.
Nice little reference there. Baseball. We're still going off James Hicks.
Just don't throw the cutter.
Yeah, please don't throw the cutter.
Don't throw the cutter. James also, Wes, a big food fan. Of course, we like to talk about food with everybody. I'm going to give you his food take, actually. See what you think about it, Wes, because I know you and I love talking food too. But that did make me hungry when we were talking about it with James. I had a very small breakfast, and so for lunch, heavy consideration to hitting up one of the 14 Midlands Firehouse Subs location. The closest one to us here at the station is right over there on Main Street, where you can go get the sub of the day, which today is spicy Cajun chicken. Maybe not one of the ones you're used to hearing about at Firehouse Subs. Typically, it's the Firehouse Meatball, the New York Steamer, the Turkey Bacon Ranch. But you should definitely check out the Spicy Cajun Chicken at $7.99 for a medium. There's a sub of the day for every day at Firehouse Subs. And speaking of the Main Street location, guys, we're going to be out there tomorrow, 9 to noon on location at Firehouse Subs, campus location right there on Main Street. Looking forward to going out there, talking about more Gamecock sports. Come on out there. Tyler, I understand. I think we'll be giving out some tickets there.
Yes,
too.
that's what Josh said. So yes, we gave away so many tickets yesterday with baseball now in full swing. We just have an unlimited amount of tickets.
Every
it seems like
15 minutes, I think.
So
it really feels that way.
So Josh and Tyler have both said there's unlimited tickets.
Now, not unlimited
That's
tickets.
what you said.
A lot of tickets. I'll say
Okay.
that much.
All right, a lot. So come out to Firehouse Subs tomorrow on Main Street. Today, if you can't wait till tomorrow, which I don't blame you, I can't either, get yourself the Firehouse sub of the day, firehousesubs.com, Rapid Rescue, download the Firehouse Subs app and join the rewards program. So Wes, James Hicks, one of his food takes, asked him what he likes.
Am I going to hate this or like this?
You won't hate it. You won't hate it.
Okay.
You may just say it's not for you. He hits a burger joint that does not partner with us for advertising, but we are Firehouse Subs people here. But he likes chips on a burger.
You say what kind of chips?
Barbecue.
I mean, I can get down with that. I can't say that I do that, but I'm not against it. Gives a great
texture,
crisp texture. Yeah, I'm here for it. So my buddy, shout out my buddy Joe. He will not eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich without having some type of chip on there. And there's actually another lunch place that does not partner with us that they have a PB&J that has like Doritos on it. So that I don't think that's a common thing, but it is a thing. And you know what? I feel like going back to grade school. Did they call it grade school? I don't think they ever actually called it grade school.
Elementary school.
Going back to elementary school.
Wes is dating himself with the grade school.
Back when I was in grade school. Hickory Grove Sharon.
Did y'all have a schoolhouse or was it a full? Did y'all have actual
It was a full
classrooms?
Back when the teacher cooked lunch on the stove in the middle of the classroom.
Yeah. Did you walk 3 miles uphill to get
uphill both ways,
barefoot, broken glass, and snow
in the snow? But no, so I feel like that was a common thing. The kids would take their potato chips and crunch them up and put them on their ham and cheese on white bread.
Yeah.
So
I'm exact same place as you. Whether it's the sandwich, because I have tried that. I've not tried chips on a burger. I'm a little intrigued by it. I'm probably not gonna. It's not gonna become a regular for me.
But you don't know that. You might like it so much.
I can already tell you it's not gonna be a
I mean,
regular.
it definitely would add good texture, the crunch to the softness of like the meat in the bun.
Yeah.
Where have y'all ever had peanut butter on a burger?
No, I've heard that's good. James also mentioned that. He likes that.
I think I actually have, come to think of it.
It's pretty good.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Kind of the saltiness,
sweetness,
creamy. Yeah.
Isn't that kind of an Elvis thing? Like,
well, the Elvis is the peanut butter and banana.
Yeah.
Fried
But you have the
peanut
Elvis
butter and banana.
burger. Yeah, that's right.
Trying to think. Anyway. Yeah.
I think on a burger, to add the texture, you also have to toast the bun a little bit. You can't have soggy bun.
Definitely.
Like
Well, the lettuce is supposed to kind of be the crunch too. If you have good lettuce, I feel like.
Yeah. To make my burger, I watched Gordon Ramsay's tutorial on YouTube.
Does he yell at you?
No, he's actually pretty calm during it. He's just like outside, I think, at his house, like his mansion.
He just yells at other people cooking.
Yeah. He's just very like, take your bug. He's just like very, but it's delicious. And he makes that L word burger is what it's called. Like, it's from his restaurant, and he shows you how to make it. Really, really good.
Did y'all get James to promise to bring us some food?
We actually didn't do that.
Wow. Okay,
we missed on that.
You did. Disappointed, but I wasn't here, so I guess I can't.
You couldn't keep us in line with it.
Yeah, I can't blame you. What was y'all's biggest takeaway from James Hicks? And how about the fact that we were all crossing our fingers? Our boy delivered yesterday as well. He didn't have to come in here and talk about I gave up 5 runs and 6 hits and 2.5, 2 1/3 or something.
I was going to say, we can save our takeaways from James for the other side of the break. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Run to another timeout. Come back on the other side. More of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs here on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on The Game.
The #1 Gamecocks travel to Knoxville to take on Tennessee. Tip-off 7 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Hey, South Carolina. Scott here from Traditions with good news if you're in the market for an engagement ring or for diamond jewelry, because we have the largest selection you'll see anywhere in the Southeast. And whether you're in the market for a traditional mine diamond or for one of these amazing new lab-grown diamonds, we've got you covered. Because whether you're buying mined or lab, you'll be happy to know that at Traditions, we guarantee the trade-in value of both kinds of diamonds at our store. So if the day comes where you want an even bigger diamond, we'll be happy to give you full value you paid for your original when you trade it in. Even better, we have over 1,000 diamond rings in stock, so you'll get to try on pretty much every style imaginable. And if you still don't see exactly the right design, we'll be glad to custom make it for you. And yes, we have interest-free financing for qualified buyers. So come see us and get the ring of your dreams with a diamond of your choice, only at Traditions Fine Jewelers, South Carolina's diamond superstore and customization destination, on Sunset in Lexington and at the Fountain in Sand Hills, where the Midlands get engaged.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's $7,500 sign-on bonuses, increased pay, and great employee benefits available. Start your new year off with a new career. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, Tell them, Mid-State Twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
Keith here with the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder from First Palmetto Bank. And if the new year has you building or buying a new home, you need a guru in this market. First Palmetto Bank is owned and operated here in the Midlands, and Jacob has local decision makers, which means quick and precise processing and underwriting. If you're looking to make a move, give Jacob a call, 803-719-1005, or email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
Thanks, Heath. Interest rates have stabilized. The local housing market also has stabilized. Now is a good time to buy a house. At First Palmetto, we have products that help homebuyers keep payments down. Also, if you are considering building your future home, please ask me about our no-nonsense construction loans. The new year brings change, and if I can help you, please give me a call, 803-719-1005.
So to follow up, rates in the housing market are stable, which makes now a good time to buy.
I'd say that sums it up.
Great. Call Jacob Crowder today, 803-719-1005.
My NMLS number is 198432. First Palmetto Bank is a member of FDIC and any housing lender.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour.
Presented by Firehouse Subs. Founded by firemen with Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5, The Game.
Back in on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, and Chris along with you on this Thursday morning, and teased it before the break with James Hicks being in here last hour from the Gamecocks baseball team. What our biggest takeaways from our conversations were. And Chris, I'll let you start.
So, Wes, we introduced, nobody knew this, not James, not Tyler. We introduced a little new segment, Make Your Case. James Hicks was our guinea pig because he can handle it. He's good. We were talking about some of the rule changes and or potential rule changes in college baseball. And he loves instant replay. But one thing that he told me that was very interesting was that he's not in favor of like VR umpires. He wants the real live umpire. So I said, well, make your case for it. And he said he feels like as a pitcher that he benefits more from umpires' errors, mistakes, because catchers are so good at framing up pitches. So, yeah, they're going to miss some ball strike calls, but he feels like more often than not that goes in the pitcher's favor. So he wants the live umpire. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I think, I grew up, I still am, but I grew up a huge Braves fan. How many Greg Maddux pitches are being called a ball now that were a strike back then? And a lot of times it's because you're manipulating, okay, that's being called a strike. And if you have a guy like Maddux, who just the best I've ever seen at pinpoint accuracy, oh, we're going to slide this glove out another centimeter. Oh, now that's a strike. We're going to slide this glove out another centimeter. And you're just kind of buying that strike basically. And, I think for a pitcher, you're sitting there, if it's called by the absolute letter, although you're in Major League Baseball, I watch a ton of MLB, you're actually already seeing it because the umpires are graded on a similar, it's not an actual system where it's a robo-ump, but they're graded by essentially a robo-ump. And there is a little bit of margin for error on that, but you slowly have gotten away from the idea of being able to steal a strike.
Right.
I think we're ultimately headed to, my guess is a real life umpire, but with a earpiece.
Yeah, it's kind of like a hybrid system almost.
Yeah, that tells them if it's a strike or, guys, I think we're headed towards not full on replay, but maybe you have one opportunity each game. Hey, check with the thing. Not that you stop. I think the last thing we need is more people putting on headsets and going to some iPad and looking at it and being like, hey guys, is this let me call New York. And then you do the dial up to connect with them, and just all this is just awful.
That's what James said.
Yeah, I was going to say he's actually in favor of more replay. He thinks it does help the game.
And one of the
Did he state his case on that?
No, I mean not as much.
He just said he was a fan of it.
Yeah, he said he was a fan of replay. But he was talking about the pitch clock too.
Yeah, that's new in MLB this year.
And he mentioned at one point that some of the stuff that they've put in, like by the time that you stop the game to explain the rules, you got to just throw in the pitch.
Because this happened to Jerzenbeck in his start on Tuesday night. Was he violated the clock? They added a ball to his count, and they basically had to say, okay, now you have an extra ball. And then Kingston comes out there and is arguing the case. So for those, 5 seconds that Jerzenbeck didn't account for, it wasted 45 seconds to another minute.
Well, I think I'm sure the theory is, in that instance you wasted another minute, but
overall
over the course of a season, speeding it up is going to save many minutes.
But that was from a pitcher's perspective.
No, I get it. And I don't know, I think much like we talked about with advertising yesterday, it's not that you need less ads. It's let's be more efficient with the advertising. Let's be more efficient with the replay. The college baseball is actually, college football is the same. They're both equally, what's the word, worse than awful. They're atrocious.
Oh, great word.
They are absolutely atrocious. This whole, whenever you see them make that little motion about the headset, it just makes you cringe because they're going to walk. In college baseball, they walk all the way across.
Yeah, we can't get a guy run out there with an iPad to home plate or something like that.
They go into the dugout. It is so silly. Like there has to be a more efficient way to do it. And I think with the strike zone, RoboUmp, all that stuff, that information is available like that. So I think there would be a pretty easy way to do that. But the replay, I was all about replay because there's so many bad calls.
Yeah.
But man, it has completely changed the flow of all sports. So I'm a little more in line with, all right, is there a way to do this efficiently?
Yeah, not very fun to watch some of those things. Also not very fun, guys, to watch sports or other programming on your television if you don't have a great streaming connection, because you might have the kids on their tablets doing things. You might have couple different games going on. You got your internet signal when you're on Twitter, when you're surfing GamecockCentral.com, streaming 107.5 The Game, all that good stuff. You'll make sure you have a great streaming connection. You also want to make sure that you have the right equipment. Best TV, soundbar, Sonos wireless speakers, and it's beautiful outside. And we're now in the midst of baseball season. Check out the local baseball offerings from South Carolina's team. Make sure that you call the team at Integrated Media to see what they can do for you. If you want to go sit outside and take in some baseball in this great spell of weather that we're having and throughout the spring, you can go check out some inspiration photos on their Facebook or their Instagram page. Integrated Media Columbia is how you can check that out. Give them a call, 803-948-8327. If you just want an outdoor, audio visual solution, they can provide that for you. They can do that, or they can do something as complex as a entire smart home system. You can kind of dream it up. They can do it for you. Integrated Media. That's integratedmediainc.com or 803-948-8327.
Yeah, with that, we'll head into our last time out, come back on the other side, wrap up today's edition of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, and Chris here on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on The Game.
Carolina calls with USC men's hoops coach Lamont Paris. Thursday at 6 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Wilson Kibler is a full-service commercial real estate firm with offices in Columbia and Greenville, specializing in helping businesses, owners, and investors with all of their commercial real estate needs. Wilson Kibler has a team of skilled brokers that can help advise you on leasing, buying, and selling commercial real estate. They also provide commercial and residential property management services. Call 803-779-8600 to learn more. Wilson Kibler, South Carolina's trusted commercial real estate advisor since 1987.
Pulliam Restoration means business. Worried about the well-being of your property? Partner with Pulliam Restoration, Columbia's largest and most well-known mitigation company. Flood, fire, mold, we have it covered. I'm Robert Pulliam. If you're a property manager or owner, call Pulliam Restoration for all your mitigation needs. At Pulliam Restoration, we have the guaranteed fastest response time and pride ourselves on getting to you in minutes, not hours. It's your choice who you use. Choose Pulliam Restoration. We're ready 24/7. Pulliam247.com or call us at 803-PULLIAM.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Tara, quote, "My doctor wanted me to do saline rinses for my allergies, but I've never been able to successfully use a neti pot. Navage uses suction power, so it's foolproof. There are nights when I'll have particularly bothersome allergies. I'll bust it out, and the results are immediate. It's such a relief. It's become a lifesaver." Unquote. She's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour
With Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
And welcome back into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, West, and Chris along with you for a few more minutes on this Thursday morning. Been talking about a conversation with James Hicks from the Garnet Trust Hour, and that'll be up shortly on the 107.5 The Game podcast page. He came off his start last night, went 5 innings, only surrendering 2 hits, 2 walks, and had 2 strikeouts as well. That led the Gamecocks to a 12-0 defeat of Queens out of Charlotte. They're off to a hot start this season, 5-0, and scoring in double digits in all of their games.
The discussion, rightfully so, has been about the hitting so far, the bats, and comparing that to maybe last year, I think. And have these necessarily been great teams? I think we'd all agree probably not. But I think the reason for encouragement, if you're a South Carolina fan, is South Carolina didn't necessarily just take care of business like this against these teams last season. And B, I feel like pitching depth was such an issue last season. And, that can really, I would say, show itself in multiple ways. That can be pitching depth issues in terms of like your bullpen and your sort of weekend games, your conference games coming up. But also that can be in terms of, and a lot of times maybe there's overlap here. but that can be in terms of, do you have the arms that can at least match up with the quote unquote lesser opponents that you're going to face in midweek situations? I think, some of the hitting, they're going to come back to earth, obviously. They're going to face much better competition. Like, the entire SEC is either in the top 25 or like knocking on the door for the top 25. But I think really what killed the season last year, so many midweek issues, whether it's losing a midweek game or, that can even manifest itself in terms of you have to pitch a guy on the midweek out of the bullpen that you actually would have been much better off in a perfect world of saving to the weekend. So I know that we have a very short sample size so far, but I think if you're a Carolina fan, you got to be very encouraged. People like James Hicks, the fact that Carolina has been able to pitch these 2 midweek games and has gotten excellent starts, some talented kids. It just feels, I think we thought and knew this team was going to pitch, especially on the weekend. But I think there are some very encouraging early signs about being able to pitch on, your Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And that is how you make the tournament, is to not blow a bunch of games to teams you're, quote, supposed to beat.
Yeah, we've all seen it. We've seen it on some of the best teams in South Carolina history, where you go, what? Like, whether it's to even, you think about the Clemson game. What was the one year that South Carolina won the national title? They lost to Clemson, I think, was that 19-6 or something like that in that one game. You think about all the different, here's a Winthrop loss and a Citadel loss just over the years. And that's kind of crossed over to several teams. It doesn't mean that because they've dominated these first several games, now you've punched your ticket to Omaha, or that you've even made the tournament. But it does show some of the things you're talking about, the hitting potential, even though the competition's going to ratchet up a lot, the pitching depth, the pitching potential. Interesting thing about the pitching staff, Wes, is that Mark Kingston, when he said this about Will Sanders, he said it about James Hicks. He said it after the Queens game about Matthew Becker, that none of those guys are as good in his opinion as they're going to be. And I think there's some different reasons for that. You look at Hicks, that was his most extended action in basically a year, since coming back from Tommy John. He had a couple innings earlier this season. Mark Kingston talking about Matthew Becker yesterday. He pitched 2 hitless innings, 2 strikeouts. But Kingston felt like he was better in the second inning than the first, and that he's going to get better. Will Sanders, didn't pitch a lot as much as some of the other guys in the offseason. So there's room to improve there for him. And we know that Will Sanders is a guy that has high-level MLB draft pick talent. James Hicks, a 15th round draft pick, from the Orioles, and came back to school. So even though they're down a couple guys that could have helped them and been even deeper, Kimbrel, Ricky Williams, even though they're down those guys, they've still built some depth. And of course, the hitting start's been fantastic too.
Yeah, I think you have to, especially in baseball, really in all sports, but you have to have enough depth that you don't know who the injuries are going to come to, but you're going to have injuries. You're going to have injuries preseason that are more long-term things, and then you're going to have things that pop up during the season, and you just hope that they aren't season-ending. But you got to have enough depth to start off, that you can sort of maintain what you want to be and who you want to be as a team, even with those injuries. But, Chris, I pulled up. I knew there were times it got bad last year, but I pulled up the schedule. Even right off the bat, a loss to UNCG in the opening weekend, an extra innings win. They were, I believe that's the game they came from behind down a ton of runs. They were, an eyelash away from actually losing the opening weekend series to UNCG last year. Swept by Clemson, a loss to Xavier, a loss to the Citadel, a loss to PC. Let's see. I know there's more. A loss to no, they beat North Carolina A&T. A loss to USC Upstate. So I mean, there were some really bad moments in the midweek that I think you're gonna have those. There will be a quote, fans will call it an embarrassing. It was an embarrassing loss. This should never happen. Those things are gonna happen in baseball. It's just the sport. But I think they've situated themselves to where they're not going to be in a battle. It felt like they were in a battle every game last year, whether you were the bigger name program or not. And, I think they're going to be in a situation where they don't necessarily feel that way this year. They've been able to get leads on teams. They've been able to, I think it's going to be very beneficial down the stretch. Once they start getting into SEC play, not down the stretch, but once they sort of start getting to the meat of the schedule, you've played so many guys to this point. The fact that you've gotten leads on teams have let you experiment with, getting different guys in, getting guys in different situations, getting them in different positions. What is your strategy in terms of, I want an offensive-oriented lineup? What is your strategy in terms of getting defensive specialists on the field, lefty-righty matchups, all these different things. When you're winning big, you can not experiment, that's probably not the word, but you can trial and error some things, knowing that you already have a pretty big lead.
Trial and error, good with big 10-run leads, not as much when you're trying to preserve a no-hitter, like James Hicks throwing a cutter. Not the time to experiment.
Yes.
I'm never going to get over that. Real quick before we finish out the show and talk a little bit more Gamecock baseball, all across the country, drivers, and that can be you too, are reaping the rewards of safer driving with State Farm's updated Drive Safe and Save app. You can earn up to 30% savings, and it has dynamic new features like interactive maps and even driving tips. You can download the Drive Safe and Save app from State Farm to get started on your savings, or you can call or stop by your local State Farm agent's office. And that for you and for me is Amy Mason-Cup of State Farm. She has an experienced, knowledgeable, and helpful team. They can help you with all sorts of policies, everything from home to life insurance, Medicare, supplements, and more. Whatever your needs are, she and State Farm have you covered. Her office is 612 St. Andrews Road, Suite 4. Her website is amymasoncup.com, MASINCUPP.com, or 803-772-5554. Make sure you give her a call to learn more about the Drive Safe and Save app, how you can switch and save on your insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I asked James last hour, guys, like, hey, you knew this team was going to be good. Like, that's what he thought. He said that before. He thought this would be a good hitting team, but I said, did you expect this? Did you expect all these runs the first 5 games? Did you expect 20 home runs? He said, no, I didn't really expect that. But he did say that he felt like they were probably a couple players deep at every position. And he thought that they were going to be a really, really good hitting team. But he was talking about, actually off air, talking about how kind of crazy it was to sit there, just how fun it was to just see all these balls sailing over the fences in Founders Park. But I mean, it's been a torrid start. I agree with you. The market will correct a little bit.
It has to. I mean,
it has to. I mean, they're not going to do this in conference play. Probably not going to do it even in non-conference games.
Yeah, no.
Going forward. But I mean, it has been fun to watch.
Well, it's been fun to hear Tommy Moody call
grand slams.
Yeah, home run balls.
Grand salamis. That's what he calls them.
I love listening to Tommy. It's like a rite of passage into spring, listening to Tommy Moody here on the game.
You can tell Gamecock fans are their attention. There's hardcore baseball fans that they're there regardless. I'm not talking about you guys. They may be a little more, maybe they're curious. They're not all quite in yet, but you can tell the interest has been piqued. Not to get ahead, but after getting swept by Clemson last year, you can already go ahead and circle that series as being such an important early test and just an early benchmark on what this season is going to mean, not just for the team, but certainly for the fans as well.
Absolutely. And that'll do it for today's edition of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs. We'll be back tomorrow. Wes and Chris will be on location at Firehouse Subs tomorrow as we wrap up the week on what's going to be a busy weekend ahead in Gamecock sports. Halftime show with Jay and Terry coming up next right here on 107.5 The Game.